We've been talking about the element of Torah that we talked about, mipiv dasu svuna. This element of Torah that when we learn Torah, we're not just learning a divine chachma, but we're actually being mischaber with the noisein of that chachma. It's not just that we're learning Hashem's chachma, but we're actually being mischaber with Hashem Himself. It's an unbelievable thing, even as I say it. I can't believe it. No? Incredible thing. We're actually mizdabek in HaKadosh Baruch Hu when we learn His Torah. The last words of the paragraph before Hashem, and just the last, we should read the last words. Elo kosher hu beboiroi bekesher chai b'chayim chiyusai. While you're alive, you're bound to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Who could ever want to stop learning, you know? It's a connection, mamish, plugged into HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ein pele lefizeh. So according to this, it's no wonder. Masha Amru Benida, Mayasa Adam v'yechkam, Omar Lahu, Yarbe b'yeshiva v'yemait b'schoira. Amru harbe osu v'loi hoya lahem, Elo yispale l'misha ha'chachma shaloi, shenemar ki Hashem yitein chachma mipiv dasu svuna. This pasuk, right? So you understand there's an oimek here. Let's read the Rashi first, and then we'll explain it. Rashi. Chachma she'ihi la'oihavav shel makayim. Chachma that comes from the oihavim, the beloved of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, nitna lahem mipiv. It's given from his mouth, like the mashal that we saw last time. V'loi me oitzer acher, not from another storehouse. V'holasham, later on there in Rashi, Maiko Mashmalan. Rashi, acharei sheberachamim hadover taloi. Lama omar yarbe b'yeshiva v'yemait b'schaira. Umitaretz, as we know from the Rosh Hashiva so many times, the hava loy sagi. Harei soif zoichem ledasu tvuna al yedei tvila, ve'omal ha'toira beribo yeshiva hu hatnai she'hatfila tizgabel. What he's saying is an unbelievable chiddush. I don't think I ever really understood this paragraph till today. So thank you for making the chavura. There's an unbelievable chiddush here. He's saying something very, very, very deep. He's saying there's such a thing as a tefillah where you ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu for things. Lanius daiti, what he's saying is that tefillah for Torah is a different tefillah. Because tefillah for Torah is that people that engage in Torah are connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Mipiv das usvuna. It's a conversation, it's an intimate conversation with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not stam tefillah. It's a tefillah of someone who has that relationship of ki Hashem yitein chachma mipiv das usvuna. So it's not coming in front of the melech and asking for what you need. It's the ben melech before he goes to sleep at night getting a kiss from his father, telling his father what he needs. It's a different type of tefillah. It's a tefillah la'oihavav. Like Rashi says, the Mashgiach says here. Oh, it's actually the Lashon Rashi. Chachma shehi la'oihavav shel makayim nitna lohem mipiv. And that's the Lashon HaGemara. You should daven l'misha chachma shaloi shenema ki Hashem yitein chachma mipiv. Okay. Yu'uyin oid b'nefesh ha'chaim shar aleph perek tezayin. Shemevayer hamedrash hanal. Hainu shabakoshas haben yakir lahasig. This is his explanation of that medrash about taking the food from the father's mouth. You remember that? So he says the bakosha of this beloved son is to lahasig sheyushba boi b'nitzotzei or b'chinas neshama, that it should be poured onto him, it should be given to him from the, we don't know what these things are, but from the oil of the neshama, asher mekaira ne'elma, that its source is hidden, b'neshimas piv yizbarach, in the breath of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Does anybody know what this is referring to? Okay, so he's referring to something very, very deep here, and that is that the Nefesh HaChaim famously taught Klal Yisrael that a person's neshama is made up of different parts. He speaks of 3 parts. There are others from speak of 5 parts of the neshama. But he speaks of 3 parts of the neshama. Nun reish nun. What is that? Nefesh, ruach, neshama. Very good. Nefesh, ruach, neshama. Nefesh is the lowest part of the neshama. Ruach is like the middle part, and neshama is the highest part. And when the Nefesh HaChaim is trying to give a sense of what that means, the Nefesh HaChaim uses a mashal of a glass blower. Has anyone ever heard this? This is a mashal of a glass blower Nefesh HaChaim uses, that you have your bubbling, right, it's this melted sand, right, it's bubbling hot, glob of glass, cooking glass, and the glass blower that turns it into a bowl takes a straw, and he uses it to blow. And there are places you could go today to watch that process happen, that natural process, and he blows into the glass, forming the inside of a bowl, making a glass bowl, right? So when he blows into the glob of glass, so part of his breath is in the glob, part of his breath is in the straw, and part of his breath is still in his mouth. Says the Nefesh HaChaim, that's the mashal of the neshama. The nefesh is the part of the neshama that's in the guf. The ruach is the part of the neshama that connects us to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the neshama is the part of our neshama that's in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right? Vayipach ba'apav nishmas chayim. It's still in the mouth of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So when we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu, mipiv dasu svuna, we're actually connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu's kaviyachal, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's mouth. You're there. The neshama is there. And we're asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we should receive from that part of our neshama that's mechuber to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we should receive the aur of Torah. Wow, I'm getting the chills. V'romzu oid b'lashaynam hakadoisha, they were also mirames in their holy lashon. Shehem shilu letinek haba mi beis hasefer dafka. You think Chazal's mashal was... why did Chazal say a child is coming back from beis hasefer? Why does he say Chazal is coming back from playing? What's the difference where the child's coming from? He comes in and he asks his father for food. What does it matter where he's coming from? Why is that part of the mashal? When I tell a mashal, so I'll dress it up and make up all these things. But Chazal say a mashal, every single word that they say is part of the mashal. So why does it say that this tinok is bami beis hasefer? So he says, Haidiu ne'emana. They taught us with certainty. She'ein mavoi ba'olam, that there is no way in the world lahasig, to be able to achieve bechinas nitzaitzei ar neshama, to be able to get those nitzaitzes from that holy place of our neshama, imloi al yedei ha'esek v'ha'iyon v'hahisbainanos b'Torah hakadoisha ki shnehem mimekar echad ba'im kayadua. So this is the Nefesh HaChaim tells us that this is not a mistake. The Nefesh HaChaim says there is only one way for a person to get that, and it's so important. Bizman hazeh, excuse my macha for a minute, but bizman hazeh, people like to make you think that there are multiple ways of connecting to Hashem. You could learn Torah, or you could also sing songs and all kinds of other things. Use your imagination, and certainly all ways of connecting to Hashem are a connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But you cannot compare the connection, the intimacy with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the amount of chibur of his dabkus and Hashem in the highest of places that comes from Iyun v'Hisbainanus, of just sitting and learning Torah, compared to any other endeavor that you will ever do, as inspiring as it may feel. There's nothing that comes close to that level of closeness, to that level of intimacy with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Should we continue? Zui Kedushas Hadas. This is, we're holding in Kedushas Hadas, right? We're holding Kedushas Hadas. We finished Bris Milah, which is Kedushas Haguf, and now we're in Kedushas Hadas. She'oleho nichras Bris HaTorah, that the Bris HaTorah was nichras. Boyu re'ei ad heichan advarim magiyim. Hinei kosav b'soif HaChumash. Right? The end of the Torah, it says, V'loikam navi oid b'Yisrael k'Moshe. U'b'sefri sham, very famous, that loikam navi oid b'Yisrael k'Moshe. But there were Nevi'im on the Madrega of Moshe. Who was that? Aval b'umais kam. V'ezeh zeh, who's the one? Who's that one? Bilam ben Ba'ar. So Bilam was a Navi on the Madrega of Moshe Rabbeinu. That's what the Sifri says. Hare Bilam Shaimeya Imrei Kel, right? Bilam could hear what Hashem says. The Yodeya Das Elyad. And in that way, Ubedas Zu Hayalei Tzara Shava and Moshe Rabbeinu. There was something similar to Moshe Rabbeinu, right? He's compared to Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay, so were they the same? They were like almost the same? No, he says, Achma Gadol Ahevdel Beineim. How tremendous is the difference between them. Bilam, Ayin Ra'ah, Ruach Gavoya, V'nefesh Rechava, every bad midah. Right? He doesn't forget others. He has an ayin ra. He's a bal gaiva. He's a bal taiva. Nefesh rechava means a bal taiva. U'Moshe Rabbeinu olav shalom onov me'oid mikol adam asher al pnei adama. Two people, same level of nevuah. One of them is the Rasha Shabarashah, one of them is the Tzaddik Shabatzadikim. How does that happen? Zehu ha'hevdol. This is the nafkamina. Hadas shal Moshe Rabbeinu olav shalom. Asher Yida'o Yizborach Panim El Panim, a little kiss from Hashem, this week's parsha, right? The das of Moshe Rabbeinu, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu had that relationship with Moshe Rabbeinu, B'chol Beisi Ne'emonhu. That das that Moshe Rabbeinu had of Hashem, Chodra L'soich Midaisav, they penetrated into the Midais of Moshe Rabbeinu. V'nihi Shalem B'kulam, and he became one with all of those Midais. Anav Kamaisai Ba'olam. V'ilu Bilam, Im Kol HaSagasai Ha'ilos. Bilam saw tremendous things. He had tremendous visions. He saw great things. Haya Mekulkul B'kol HaMidais HaRois B'yachad. He was distorted. He was Mekulkul in all Midais Rois. V'ulai Dafka Al Yedei HaSagasai. His Go'eh V'his Skalkel. Perhaps through his Hasaga, he was Niskalkel. A person has a vision and sees very high things, he starts thinking very highly of himself. And if he doesn't work on his own midas, how it affects him, how it becomes part of him, it could become part of the problem, not part of the solution. Moshe Rabbeinu absorbed the Chachmas HaTorah into himself. Hu asher charuz b'shir hakavod. Right, this is in the Shir HaKavod, in the end of Shabbos davening. It says this lashon. Kesher tefillin hera la'anav. It says Hashem showed the anav, Moshe Rabbeinu, the kesher tefillin. What's that referring to?
By the
V'ro'isa sachayrai, right? By Parshas Kisisa. Ala pasuk v'ro'isa sachayrai upanai lo yero. Amru Chazal melamed shehera hakadosh baruch hu leMoshe kesher shel tefillin. What does that mean? Hashem showed Moshe Kaviyachol the knot in the back of his shulrosh. What's the significance of that part of the tefillin? Listen to this brilliance. Okay? Hakesher shel tefillin munach al hamakom she'atzabe harosh nichnasim l'chut hashedra. This place at the back of the head, that's where all of the channels of the head, right, meet the top of the spine. Right? Your brain leads to the top of the spine. It goes down your body. That's how your brain communicates with the whole body. Right? That's the central cord, the spinal cord that communicates with your whole body. So the whole brain connects to the top of the spinal cord, right around there where the back of your tefillin is. That's the meeting point between Yediyah and Asiyah. Right? Amazing. That's that point where what you think becomes what you do. V'sham mispashtim, from there they spread out the kol chelkei aguf. Zehu mekoymai shel Moshe Rabbeinu b'shir hakoyma. Moshe Rabbeinu was zeicha to see that in the Shechina, because that's who Moshe Rabbeinu was. Hu zacha ledas, he had a type of das. Moshe Rabbeinu was mesiaches to his das in a way, hamekasheres, that it binds together as hasaga ha'elyoina, this unbelievably high hasagas im hamidais v'chol koiches aguf. Umiskadshim kol ha-koiches kulam v'kedusha elyoina. All of these koiches become miskadesh with that kedusha. Zois hi hadas the kedusha. Le'umasai daitay shel bilam im kol hasagasei hagavoya. With all of his great hasagas, he hadas the tuma. Kan mizgale lonu shir kaimasai shel misha zacha liyos me oyhavav shel hamakim baruchu v'zacha mi piv yisbarach. So here it's revealed to us the full greatness, shir kaimasai, the stature of someone who's zeicha to be from the oyavim of Hashem, and he's zeicha to receive from Hashem's mouth kaviyachol l'das usvuna, l'das kol davar bebirur, to understand each thing clearly, u'lahavin davar mitoich davar, like we learned last time about bina, to be able to extrapolate from the chachmas haTorah. V'das utvuna elu choydrois l'soich midaisav. This das utvuna penetrates into his midos, v'chol koichos nafshay, u'mekadshois es kol ha'adam b'kedusha ilahis, bris Torah he kedushas hadas. So this is a goal, and it's not an easy thing. This is not something that's a natural and easy thing. It's very easy sometimes for people to learn and learn and learn and absorb things and keep it intellectual. And it stays intellectual, and their midos could be midos garuos, and they could be involved in all kinds of taivos and ego, and it's all about me and selfishness and focus on themselves. And part of their ego is also that they're big Talmidei Chachamim, and they're amazing, and they learn so much, and it all becomes part of the avodah zarah of themselves. And this is one of the goals of a loimei Torah. It's not just about learning Torah, but it's learning Torah in a way that there's an attempt and a concentration and a focus on that Torah affecting us and becoming part of who we are. And that's something that needs our attention, and doesn't always happen immediately. There's such a thing sometimes that we have hasagos, and we like I spoke about by the siyam of nafshi chashka b'Torah. We have like a desire for it, and we want those madregas. We could hear about tremendous gadlus when we're learning Torah, and learn about tremendous gadlus, and then it could take a lifetime to implement that gadlus and to make it ours. We shouldn't get discouraged, but we also shouldn't think chas v'shalom that that's not the job. Part of the job of Torah is for, like the kesher shel tefillin, is for all of that das to transform itself into action. Sometimes people that are big intellectuals, they have a harder time with it even, because it's so enjoyable for them, the intellectual playing with the Torah, like the geschmack, that they don't spend the time to absorb the Torah. What does this mean? What's the impact? How does this affect me? To make it part of them. And that's a tremendous goal.